welcome to episode 536 of the Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast. I'm Sean.
I'm Ian, and this is the only podcast that says...
Ooh, it cooled off nicely.
It did. I was ready for it.
You and me both.
I was done with that fucking 90-degree humidity. Ugh, that was horrible.
It was like a light switch went off. Like one day it's like 90 degrees and humid, and the next day it was like 75 and comfortable.
Perfect. 50s at night.
Yeah, oh yeah. I haven't run my air conditioner in a week.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. Like, even like I have like a fan, like a window fan. And like I've had to turn that off at night because it's like too cold, you know. So that's comfortable. That's pleasant.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how are you, sir?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Been really stretching the internet, and not internet, but the streaming. There is just nothing out there. I have been searching and searching and searching, and there is just not one thing. I did watch, what's this Roman movie with Channing Tatum?
Okay. Yeah.
Called The Eagle.
I seem to vaguely recall that, yeah.
Yeah. It's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad. But that was like bare bones. I mean, there is just nothing out there.
I started watching
Daryl Dixon. I did watch Daryl Dixon.
You?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was excellent.
Yeah. I started watching today a docu-series on Netflix called Wrestlers.
Okay.
And that's all about an independent promotion in Kentucky called OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling. Now, in the early 2000s, OVW was the birthplace of like the next generation of WWE stars.
Okay.
John Cena came through there. Dave Bautista came through there.
Oh,
Brock Lesnar came through there. Like, there were a group of guys. Randy Orton came through there. Like, there were a group of guys who were like that next generation, and they came through OVW, and that was at a time where the WWE used like OVW and Florida Championship Wrestling. I think there was one other one as like their developmental territories.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
This is a guy we really
pool.
like, right? But it was like, here's somebody like we really like. We want to put them here. Though they can be on TV, they can get some exposure, they can get some work and work on their craft, so that like it's kind of like the minor leagues for baseball.
Yeah.
Well, then the WWE decided they were better off, instead of relying on some other independent promotion to be their developmental, they'll just create their own.
Yeah, right.
And that's when they created NXT.
Okay.
And the Performance Center down in Orlando. So, like, when they did that, like, it kind of cut the legs out from a lot of these promotions. Sure. And this is about, like, this promotion, which is still going, but it's struggling. Like, they talk about, like, they're very proud of the fact that, like, they've had 1,200 consecutive weeks of live television.
Yeah.
Something no other independent promotion can say, which is the truth. Like, any other independent promotion, like, you can watch them on a streaming service, you can watch them on the internet, like, but OVW is the only one that's actually, like, on local television.
Yeah.
So you're getting that live TV experience as compared to...
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So... It's just been interesting. I've watched about 5 episodes so far, and it's been very interesting to see not only the kind of people who kind of like put themselves in that position. Uh-huh. There's older guys who think like, hey, maybe I can catch an eye and make one last big run. There's younger people who they're looking at AEW, they're looking at WWE, like, this is where I want to go. How do I get there? Like, there's all sorts of, like, and there's everybody in between who are like, and this is, you know, I'm just happy doing it this way, you know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting to see who these people are. That, because like I watch independent wrestling, or, you know, not that much, but like I watch a little bit of it, and like, and I always think to myself like, well, I wonder what that guy's real job is.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, they put on maybe 2 shows a month.
Yeah.
So this can't be your real job.
Right.
You know, you're in front of like, you know, 200 people, you know, in a gymnasium in McKeesport.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, so, like, this isn't, but you're there hoping to take that next step. And there have been guys who have gone from like those independents, even locally. Like, there's a CZW, which they claim, you know, a number of people in AEW that have, you know, made the jump from there to that next level. PWX.
Yeah.
They've been around forever. Like, I remember going to Eastland Mall in the back of the candy store and going to see wrestling there. Like, they've been around for 30 years. But I know, like, Lee Moriarty cut his teeth there, and he's in AEW. So, like, there have been guys and gals who have got their start, like, in local independent promotions here. And I'm sure it's the same thing across the country. And there are bigger ones. Like, I know, like, there's in California, there's Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, which is, like, considered a high, like a big deal. I know there's a couple others scattered throughout the country that are like, you know, yeah, this is a big deal independent promotion. But like watching this and seeing these people and like what they have to go through to kind of make it work is it's kind of interesting to me.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're a fan of professional wrestling, I'd highly recommend it. It's been very, very good. If you're not, then don't watch it all. You know. Yeah. But I mean, but that's the thing. Like, it is definitely catering to an audience, and that audience is definitely me.
That's cool. You sick yet?
I got a little throat something going.
Okay.
I got it under control. Yeah, I know. So that's the only thing I mean, I watched I might as well just get into it. Like, we watched Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, was that good?
Yeah, that was a good show. That was a good episode.
I mean, what was amazing about that episode was how much fan service it paid, but made the fan service work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like going back to the Clone Wars, like the trial of Ahsoka Tano, like how that played out and everything, like that was so well done.
Yeah.
Like I was like, and then like the fanboy in me is like geeking out because like there's these amazing shots of the Ghost flying around. Like, I love that ship.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the Millennium Falcon, but I love that ship.
Yeah.
And like seeing it like that, like in live action, I was like just geeking out. Like, oh my god, I can't believe they're doing this. But I mean, like, the whole thing, like, I was just, I couldn't believe it was as long as it was because it didn't feel like it was that long.
Right.
Like, at the end of it, I was like, I really sat here for an hour? Wow.
I know.
Okay. Well played.
Yeah.
It's just extraordinarily well done.
Yeah. Saber battles were amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I like that whole thing with Anakin, too. I thought that was really good. Called her Snips. I mean, like, everything about it. I like how she went back to, you know, being small, child.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
You know? I did, too, yeah. I mean, at first I was like, huh? And then I was like, okay, I'm good with it. I'm good. It makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that.
Oh, there's flashes of Vader.
Oh, like that's the thing. Like,
oh,
like when he was walking in the battle, and I was like, you know, like the silhouette of Vader with the red lightsaber, and it was back to him. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know, and then like when they went back to the World Between Worlds, and like with the lightning, and then it's Vader, and then it's not. Like, I was like, oh, that was so well done.
Yeah, he invested a lot of time in this.
Yeah,
yeah. And it was a really good episode. I mean, I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved how they showed that kid's force sensitive.
Yeah,
how he's like, I hear lightsabers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and she's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, like, she came around and I was badass. It was a good episode.
It was. It was like so well done, and I was like, even like Ahsoka communicating with the Purgle and like going with the white cloak. I was like, oh shit, okay, here we go.
Yeah,
business is about to pick up. You know,
is that significant? The white cloak.
I think it's significant in she is now a master of the Force. Like with Luke's trial was in the cave.
Yeah.
You know, like that was his trial and he failed. Anakin's trial was with the Mortis. And he kind of failed.
Yeah.
But you know, Ahsoka, like she clears it because she figures it out, and like so, like the wearing of the white is like I think significant. She's not a Jedi. Like they keep calling her a Jedi, and it drives me nuts because she's not. She walked away from the Jedi era. She's just a Force user, but I think she is not considered like within the Force a master.
Okay.
Which may also help her because like she was also kind of became very forgiving of Sabine for not destroying the map.
Yeah.
And she saw it from her like I think it may help make her a better master for Sabine. Like as a trainer.
Yeah.
As compared to like what was happening before, because like the big complaint that people have had is, well, she's not very Ahsoka like. And she has been, but also like I said, I mean, you know, much like Obi-Wan, much like, you know, these other characters, like, she's been through some shit.
Yeah.
Well, now, like, that trial was her erasing that burden of, I was trained to be a warrior. Like, my legacy is death.
Yeah.
You know, and no, it's not. You're much more than that. And that's when the realization she comes to.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that'll, like, when she does finally get to Sabine, I think that'll help with whether it's going to come forward. Because, I mean, don't forget, all of this is supposed to take us to a movie at some point.
Yeah.
Like, Dave Filoni's directing a movie with all these characters. So I feel like at some point, like, we're going to get more of, like, Sabine's training. Like, even if Thrawn does come back, or if they do a second season of Ahsoka in this other galaxy, like at some point Sabine will be trained, I think.
Okay.
Now, how Force sensitive she's going to be, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so was that really Anakin, like a Force ghost type of thing, or what? Explain that.
Well, there's two thoughts I've had, and the one is that it was Anakin.
Okay.
But the other one is that it was Anakin, but in like that representation I told you of the father, like, because Anakin, like I said, like in the Mortis storyline.
All right, let me clear this up for people that haven't been watching it. Was this just in her head, or was this a real thing that was happening?
So this is a real thing that happened.
Okay, all right.
But like she's been to the world between worlds before, and like so this really did happen. It wasn't just in her head.
Okay, all right.
But
I'm just clearing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
But I feel like within the Force, you know, there's a trilogy, and she has always represented the daughter of the light side of the Force. There was a son who was a representation of the dark side of the Force, and there was a father who was balance.
Okay.
Anakin represents balance.
Okay.
He has been both light and dark.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, like, I feel like with Anakin, this was the Force using Anakin as the father to further bring balance to the Force with Ahsoka.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
He looked good. He did.
I liked... It's funny, like, one of my biggest complaints has always been with Anakin Skywalker, if you only watch the movies, he's a whiny brat.
Yeah.
Like, you don't understand
who he is.
Right. Why his fall is so traumatic, and more importantly, why he's considered a hero. And when you watch the Clone Wars cartoon, you get to see, like, why he's important. You get to see why he's special and why his fall is traumatic and what he means to the other people around him. He was looked upon like Balin says. Like, I mean, he was a fucking rock star.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he was a bad motherfucker and people knew it. But at the same time, you don't see that in the movies. And so I was glad we got to see a glimpse of that Anakin a little bit to make you understand who Anakin Skywalker really is.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? He was the hero. He was the general. He was...
Yeah, because anybody outside of the cartoon doesn't see that person.
No.
They just see this whiny bitch, and then he falls to the dark side, and then that's
it.
He becomes Vader.
Yeah.
But that's the story that I like. There's more to Anakin than meets the eye.
There's a lot more to Anakin, and that's what's like what I loved about like that first scene in the Clone Wars is you got to see that version of Anakin a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe that entices you to go watch the Clone Wars. I don't know, but like he is so much more than what you just see in those two movies.
Correct. Yeah. And that's why the fall is hard.
Right. Like the fall is harder for me now because he's and that's the thing that sucks is like it's two movies, but that character never gets fleshed out like that.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, and that's the problem. And it takes the Clone Wars cartoon to really flesh out that character and let you see the hero that Anakin Skywalker really was.
Well, I think Filoni's doing that.
Right. I mean, he got to do it with Clone Wars, and he has an opportunity to give you a glimpse of that here. But I think it's like that thing of like I hate when people are like, well, I don't watch the cartoons, that's for kids. Well, in a way, you're right, it is. And there's some of it you have to kind of sift through. I'm not going to deny that for a second. But overall, like the story that the Clone Wars tells is so interesting.
Yeah.
Because you're dealing with the character that Obi-Wan is. Like, we love Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. Like, a highlight of those fucking movies, Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan.
Right.
But again, the Obi-Wan character is a lot more interesting when you get into the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
You know, like you find out like he has a love. There's a like it makes him and Anakin the two sides of the same coin where Obi-Wan walked away from her because the Jedi Order was more important, where Anakin secretly goes and gets married.
Right.
You know. So you have that aspect of it. You have, you know, there are other aspects of like Obi-Wan is interesting. Ahsoka, you get to see her like maturity, like over those seasons. Like I remember like walking out of the movie, like I can't wait to see how she dies. You know,
yeah.
And at the end of that, like, you know, she's like my favorite character, like you know, like my second favorite character behind Han Solo.
Right.
You know, so like it's interesting like to see how like she progresses over that time till you get what you saw in the second flashback when she went to Mandalore.
Right.
You know, she went and took on Maul and to take back Mandalore for the Mandalorians, and like what takes place there, and then like after that, what takes place with Order 66 coming down. Because while she's fighting for Mandalore, Obi-Wan and Anakin are going to rescue the Chancellor.
Right.
You know, like that's their job. Like that's why they send Ahsoka in the 501st and Rex, because her job, like they were being called, but they knew Mandalore needed to be taken, so they send Ahsoka to take Mandalore with the 501st.
Right.
And part of Ahsoka's problem has always been she blames herself because maybe if she hadn't left the Jedi Order, if she had stayed by Anakin's side instead of going to Mandalore, maybe he doesn't fall. Like, that's what she blames herself for.
I see.
You know? So, like I said, like that's a burden she is carrying around with her. And so when people are like, well, she wasn't very Ahsoka, like, well, there's a reason why. Like, you know, imagine carrying that burden around, like blaming yourself for not being there for, you know,
your master.
Well, your master becoming one of the most ruthless
right.
Sith Lords ever.
Right.
You know,
in history.
Yeah. You know. So,
do you think he was the most ruthless Sith Lord?
Well, I don't. Like, I think it'll be interesting to like see like if they ever go back and explore like previous times. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
I feel like, yeah, he was. Like, I mean, you know, like, there's that whole, like, you know, he struck down an entire room of younglings. You know, like,
I know.
He had no problem killing kids, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like there may be some Sith Lords that were even like, whoa, holy shit. Yeah. So yeah, like, I kind of lead towards Vader being
the most ruthless.
Yeah. All right, so we'll move off from Star Wars.
Yeah.
I just showed you the trailer for Aquaman 2.
Yeah. Wow. Looks incredible.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I was very intrigued by the lack of Amber Heard in the trailer. You know. Not surprising, but, I mean...
Yeah.
She's there. But, man, Black Manta looks...
I love Black Manta. You know that.
Yeah.
I always like that him as a villain. To see him come to life, it's like a good representation of Black Manta.
Oh, yeah.
Like a Black Manta that you don't really know, but then the only thing you really know from Manta is, is the suit.
Yeah, I mean, like, he has evolved over the years. He's become a much more interesting character.
Yeah.
And, like, in the comic books and stuff, like, you know, he went from being the bumbling villain, you know, with the cool-looking head.
Yeah.
To, like, a very, very deep, dark villain.
Yeah.
You know, and he's become, like, in the comic books, he became very, very interesting. And so, like, I feel like they've tapped into that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and made him even nastier, in a way.
Yeah.
Which I like a lot.
Oh, yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I love Black Manta. And it's the voice. It's that from the cartoon.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same thing with the silence.
But also, like, I mean, he was like the one villain that you kind of like looked at and you look like he had the big helmet and like up until like the last 20 years, like you never saw underneath that hat.
No.
You know what I mean? Like it was just Manta, yeah. Like, and then like now he is a much deeper character, but that was like still like an intriguing, like it was the same thing like with the Cylons, like is there people underneath that armor?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know, like is he robotic? Is he? You know, like what is Black Manta's deal? Like you never really got like, you know, he just showed up, Aquaman beat him, and you know they went on their day, like, you know. So, yeah, like I dig it. They're going down that rabbit hole with Manta and making him like a badass villain.
Oh yeah,
you know,
I love him.
But I also like you know, I like Aquaman. Like
he's a good Aquaman, dude.
He is like he's he's playing it very interesting, like, you know, and I like it. He's kind of like, you know, man, this isn't what I wanted out of life.
Right.
You know, like, I didn't want to be the king of the sea. Yeah. You know. And so he's like, I like that, like, kind of like, you know, that sense of duty, but it's a duty I don't want.
Right.
You know, and I'm intrigued to see where it all goes. I mean, it looks like a very good movie, and I'm kind of hyped for it.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, and it looks good.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about sluts. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. We won't go too far into it, but Steeler game.
Boy, did they stink.
Oh. What a nightmare. I texted G right before the game. I was like, I'm so excited for this game. I was like, I can't wait.
Yeah.
And it was like, and he texted me back and he was like, you still excited?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just went, oh.
No, like, I mean, that was like...
So who do you... And, like, this has been the common question amongst my friends. No, really. I mean, like, out there, you know, I talk to a lot of people, and especially at work, and I was like, well, you know, who do you blame? You know, and I was like, is it Canada or is it Pickett? And I was like, well, Pickett had a bad game.
Right.
I'm not going to deny that.
He would fully admit that. Hook. But I blame everybody.
Ugh.
Like,
especially Tomlin. I really blame Tomlin on the defense on that guy. Just what did he blow up for?
Christian McCaffrey.
No.
Oh, Brandon Ayuk.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the guy who sat on my bench in fantasy football.
How much? What did he have?
Well, he had like 160 yards and 2 touchdowns, 9 catches, 160 yards.
I blame Tomlin. I do. Well, I blame the defense. I mean, you can't let that. After the first 75 yards, seriously, you cannot let that guy destroy you like that. And he never fucking adjusted. When I watched that game, it was very similar to that Patriots, the fucking Patriots playoff game.
Yeah.
They never adjusted for that guy. They never adjusted for him. And I'm like, you just going to let him run all over you all day? Because he did.
Here's the thing that amazes me. Absolutely amazing.
I mean, come on.
How do you not put in Joey Porter Jr.? Like, I think his snap count was less than 10. Like, how do you not have Joey Porter Jr. on the field? Like, your second-round draft pick, the guy who should have been a first-round draft pick. Like, how is he... Like, and it's like a Tomlin thing, like, you know, we ease rookies in. Well, no, not in this case. You need your best guy. And he's, like, this is why you drafted him.
Right.
Like, and let's throw all the blame out there that there is. Kenny Pickett looked bad. I'm not going to not throw him under the bus. He looked bad.
Yeah.
The play calling was awful.
Mm-hmm.
The running backs looked awful.
Mm-hmm.
The offensive line looked awful. There was nothing on the offensive side of the ball that you can say, wow, that I mean, you know, nothing.
Right.
Defensively, it's the same thing. Like, the front seven got their asses handed to them.
Yeah.
Like, other than, like, T.J. Watt.
Right.
And, like, you can say, like, well, you know, Hayward gets injured, but they were running the ball rather effectively when Hayward was in there.
Correct.
You know, so, like, not, like, the secondary looked bad. Like, everybody looked horrible. Like, the coaching staff is responsible for this. The players are responsible for this. There is nothing, like, special teams were awful. Like, there was not a single, like, T.J. Watt is your single bright spot.
Right. Exactly. Urbig was pretty good, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
But, I mean, like, so, like, when you have that, man, you've that's just bad.
It's
like,
terrible.
And it's like, and I understand, like, you just sit there and like, we even try to temper ourselves, like, hey, it's just preseason, you can't get overly excited, but they looked really good. And, like, I don't know if it was, like, the 2.5 weeks off. Like, that's a lot of time off. Like, if you have a rhythm going and you have, like, that much time off, I don't know how much that affects you. But, man, they just, I mean,
can you throw a fucking deep ball here?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, I was just...
I mean, just throw it up there for Pickens to try to go get it.
Yeah. I mean, I was so pissed off at the fact that it was just like... I mean, I think the thing that pissed me off the most about that entire thing, literally, was that guy blowing up across the middle every fucking play.
Yeah.
Every fucking play.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. You have to adjust to that.
Yeah.
Well, you're just going to let him go?
Yeah.
And that's like I said, same thing with that Patriots playoff game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All that dink and dunk and middle shit.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't adjust to that.
Yeah.
And he never adjusted.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that has been my biggest... I'm not saying fire Tomlin. No. I'm not saying this at all.
No.
But I am saying that the guy cannot adjust to what's going wrong.
Right.
He can't.
No.
I mean, it's been proven in the playoff game. It's proven now. He just cannot adjust.
Yeah.
You have to adjust at halftime.
Right.
That guy should have had 0 catches at halftime.
Yeah.
Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I agree.
He just does not adjust to it.
Right.
And people say, oh, it's players not making plays. Nah. Guy's fucking blowing you up.
Yeah.
You got to get to him.
Yeah.
And you got to get Porter in so you can get to him.
Yeah.
You got to double cover him and bring Porter in so he can cover the single receiver.
Right.
I mean, come on. Why do the fans know this? And it's exactly with Canada's play calling. It's bullshit. It is bullshit.
I agree. Like,
Canada's play calling is bullshit. That guy needs to go. I don't care. I say fire him right now. No, I'm serious.
Right. But
I don't care. Beginning of the season, fucking get rid of him.
The problem becomes, though, you're stuck with the same playbook.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Now you can tweak that.
You a little bit, but like you can't install a whole new offense.
No, I'm not saying that you can't.
Right.
But what I'm saying, you can tweak the existing offense that is there.
Right. But like,
I mean, screens on 3rd and 12.
Yeah.
I mean,
right. I get your
come on.
I understand your point. I agree with you.
Not throwing the ball downfield.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Right.
I don't know. It really irritated me.
Right.
And it wasn't the fact that we lost, and I'm not taking away anything, because San Francisco is a good team.
Right.
I don't care what anybody says.
Right.
They're a good team. They have a good defense. I get that.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you got to match the points.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's where it lies.
Right.
Like, you could not match their points.
Right.
And that falls on Canada.
When you have 5 3-and-outs in the first half in a row.
I mean, come on.
Like, that's a problem. And it's a problem for your defense because the defense doesn't have time to figure out what's going on. They're right back on the field. And like at one point, like I saw a 49er, he was quoted as saying, man, I was wishing they would at least get a first down because I was getting tired from an offensive standpoint of being on the field so much.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
That's crazy.
It is. So, I mean, they got Cleveland on Monday. We'll see.
Yeah. No, it's very disappointing.
Yeah.
I mean, considering that you made all these moves in the offseason.
Right.
You made all these moves to build the line.
Right.
You made all these moves to build defense.
Right.
All this shit's going on.
Right.
I know Pickett's having a bad game, but at the same circumstance, the holes aren't there. The holes are there in the defense.
Right.
You know what I mean? And your special
they only ran the ball 9 times.
Yeah.
Total.
Yeah.
Like that's not like that was just Najee's character. That was him and Warren and Najee.
Yeah.
Like 9 times. That's it.
Crazy.
It is. Like, and you could say like, well, you know, the score dictated abandoning the run, and you're right.
Right.
But at the same time, like, I mean, like if the passing game, you have to find something to work, and like nothing did. Like it was nothing. It was a debacle of epic proportions, and it's like that. What you hope is, okay, they got punched in the face. They tasted their own blood. You know, now how do you respond to that? You know, because you got Cleveland, and Cleveland's like the darling, like everybody talks about, like, oh, Deshaun Watson's coming, he's going to be so good. And like, if you looked, like, not one single AFC North quarterback had a good game.
Right.
You know, including Watson, who at least got a win.
Right.
You know, but like Cleveland doesn't have to, like they'll run the ball. Yeah. They will run Nick Chubb down your throat.
Yep.
You know, so you better tighten up your jock strap. You better tighten up your chin strap, because you know on Monday night you need to be laying some wood.
Agreed. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I did have another problem, too, which was the fucking cleats. Like, that Deontay... Of course, he's out now. But Deontay Johnson just slipped. If he hadn't have slipped, he would have caught that ball.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you.
Right.
There was another play where the guy slipped, and there was another play where the guy slipped.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like... That is like fundamental shit.
Yeah. Like you should know on your home field.
Exactly.
What type of cleats you need.
Yeah.
Like it shouldn't be a mystery.
It should not. But that's what was going on.
Yeah.
Like 3 fucking crucial plays.
Yeah.
And they slip. I mean, that's... Come on, dude. And I mean, that's bullshit. Seriously.
And like, I don't know.
I mean, the thing about Deontay Johnson is the guy will always get open.
Yeah.
He's always open.
Except in the red zone.
Correct.
Yeah.
But otherwise, Deontay Johnson is always open.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
He will get open.
Right. I agree.
Even if the play's extended, you will find him.
Right.
He will be open.
Right.
You just got to give him the ball.
Right.
You know? And it's like, Jesus Christ. I mean, and you're right. Why wouldn't you play Porter?
Right. Like,
I mean, what is this?
Like, I hate that because they have that mentality of, well, we've got to ease you in. And, like, sometimes you just got to hold their feet to the fire. Like, you know, it's like that old meme of, like, you know, I don't know how to swim. And, like, there's that dad just throwing the kid in the pool. Like, well, you're going to learn. Like, you know, that's kind of what you have to do sometimes.
All right, let's get off Steelers.
So how did you do fantasy-wise?
Oh, I was doing good until... No, I didn't want to talk about it.
Okay. Because I forgot to take out Travis Kelce.
Okay.
And I still got to win.
Nice.
Yeah. But, I got really lucky this week. And,
yeah, apparently.
I mean, and here's what, like, really sucks. Like I said, like, I had Brandon Ayuk on my bench. Like, if you look, like, Ayuk had 29 points. Michael Pittman Jr. had another, like, 20 points. You know, they're both sitting on my bench. And it's like, oh, and Tua went off for 28. Meanwhile, Jalen Hurts only had 12.5. So, like my kicker and my defense. My defense got me 10 points. My kicker got me 18.
Nice.
You know, But yeah, I snuck one past Stork, who I'm sure he can't. He's got to be just beside himself how he let that one get by. And I'm well on my way to what looks like will probably be a second win, but I don't know. I'm thinking of tinkering with my lineup. I don't know.
I know, me too.
Yeah. I'll make some decisions tomorrow. Then I'll probably live to regret it. Such is fantasy football.
It's just a nightmare.
It is.
It is. I mean, like...
And we're not even, like, gambling. Like, there's no money on the line here.
No. So I don't have internet because our internet's down and slow as fuck.
Yeah.
But my Q got me, like, 11 points or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, seriously?
Yeah.
Buffalo Q?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, are you serious
Josh
right
Allen,
now? Josh Allen. Yeah, I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was just like, oh my God.
And then I got Otter, like, pestering me. He's like, I picked up Kenny Pickett just to fuck with you. Like, well, like, why would you make him your starting quarterback? Because I wasn't going to. Mm-hmm. Like, I believe in Kenny Pickett, but, in fantasy football, I'm going with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Because there's more points to be had there. And,
yeah.
So if you went with Kenny Pickett as your starting quarterback to fuck with me,
yeah, and he still beat me.
Yeah, and like I was gonna draft him, but to be my backup.
Yeah.
So.
Whatever.
Yeah. And he still beat you. That sucks.
I know. It was terrible.
Yeah.
And he had the Jets.
No, yeah. So, yeah.
And the Jets defense killed me.
Yeah. There was like 3 interceptions in that game or something.
Yeah, and a return for a touchdown. End of the game.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I was rooting for him. I was like, wow, go Jets. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm like, I fucking lost.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Yeah, that Jets defense is legit.
Yeah.
So, in a little bit of nerd news,
okay.
Apparently Tim Burton not exactly happy that his Superman showed up in The Flash.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, apparently he wasn't very happy that they used Keaton's Batman either.
Oh, who the fuck cares?
Right, but in response to the Cage cameo in Flash, Burton raised the issue that he finds disturbing the use of AI in Hollywood. But also, it goes into another AI thing, and I think this is why I'm over it with studios. They can take what you did, Batman or whatever, and culturally misappropriate it, or whatever you want to call it. Even though you're a slave to Disney or Warner Brothers, they can do whatever they want. So in my later years of life, I'm in quiet revolt against all this. Like, I understand the first part of it. Like, as an artist, like, you can be against, like, the use of AI. Not that I think, I get it. Like, but at the same time, it was, like, 30 seconds. You know what I mean?
You signed your name, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, future reference, like, don't sign your name or go against it, but
right.
You signed your name, brother. So, I mean.
But also, like, the other side of that, though, is you're not the creator of Batman.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that wasn't your creation. Like, you created a version of Batman.
Right.
And you made 2 movies using that version of Batman.
Right.
But overall, Batman is not your creation. You don't own Batman.
Yeah, fuck Tim Burton.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
I'm not saying fuck Tim Burton, but I am kind of like, also kind of like saying like, like, these aren't your toys.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, now, I mean, like, if I had watched that and, like, Keaton was awful and they completely, like, didn't use the character right, then I could see, like, where you're going to be, oh, man, that's not what I would have done.
Right.
And, boy, that was just awful. But it wasn't. It was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's, like, and, like, the cameo, like, you're talking about something that was never actually done.
Right.
This movie was never made. It's the great what if.
Right.
Of superhero movies.
Right. It was never made.
Right. So the fact that somebody thought it would be cool to do this, and they probably had to pay Nick Cage a little bit of money for his likeness.
Right.
But the fact they were able to do that, like, it was like a nod. Like it's an Easter egg, but it's like this nod to, like, this is what could have been. And that was the beauty of, like, their version of the multiverse.
Right.
So, like, it was just, like, to hear Tim Burton, like, talk like that, like, I understand his point because, he's an artist, man, and, like, this is what I do, you know what I mean? I get it, Tim, You think you're Andy Warhol. You're not, but I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, I understand his point to a certain extent, but I also am like, but at the end of the day, these aren't your toys.
Right.
You just got to play with them.
Right.
It would be like if Christopher Nolan came out and was like, any version of Batman after what I did is bullshit.
Right.
Like, who the fuck are you?
Right. You're right.
Like, you didn't make the definitive version of Batman. I'm sorry. That hasn't been done. Like, if it has, it belongs to Batman the Animated Series at best.
Right.
But, so that's how I feel like. I mean, it's like if anybody else, it's interesting. It's an interesting, like, to look at because it's like there have been multiple versions of Batman and there have been multiple versions of Superman. And there's even been multiple versions of Spider-Man. But, like, most Marvel characters, like, it's pretty much there's been one version. Like, you can go back a little bit. Like, there's those horrible Captain America movies from the late 80s, early 90s. Where, like the shield fucking bent.
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
Like, it was like a... Like they took, like, a fucking plastic sled and painted it red, white, and blue. Like... There was stuff like that. And
it was like a good idea, but it didn't work.
Yeah. Like, there was the Incredible Hulk with, Bill Bixby. And I know, like, in part of that, like, there was a Doctor Strange. There was a Daredevil. And I even did Thor at one point. Like, in those ones. And they were bad.
Thor Hulk, that was bad.
Yeah. But, I mean, like...
Played by the guy that does fucking Patrick's voice and fucking SpongeBob.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, so, like, it's like that funny thing of, like, with Marvel, for the most part, like, those characters only really have one version.
Yeah.
Like, so, like, you can't get, like really, well, this version of Captain America is superior to that. Well, yeah, because, like, that version in the 80s fucking sucked.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to, say Chris Evans wasn't superior to that,
Right.
But there are, like, with DC, like, there have been so many iterations over 40 years of these characters in one way, shape, or form that it's, like, like for Tim Burton to be like, oh, man, I wish they hadn't used Keaton, because, like, it wouldn't have been what I would have done. And like, come on, shut the fuck up.
Exactly, dude. That's what I've been saying.
Like...
You don't own the property, bro.
Yeah. And more importantly, like, Keaton knocked it out of the park. Like, again, like, it's like one of those things where it's like, it makes sense.
Right.
I kind of like that. Like, it made sense. It was like, okay, yeah, I could see where, like, this is where Keaton would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. So, that's all I got.
What?
Yeah.
Get out of there.
There wasn't much in the news. Like, everything that's in the news is like, it was very Ahsoka based. Like, we talked about the Aquaman trailer. there are a couple things I haven't gotten around. Like, I want to watch the season finale of Foundation. I haven't gotten around to watching that yet. And I found out Otter watches that.
What?
Foundation.
What is that on?
It's on Apple.
Of course,
yeah. So, like, there is somebody else out there who watches that. So I can't wait to watch it so I can tell Otter what I think.
I don't have Apple, so
I don't know. It's the one streaming service you don't have.
I know. The only one. I have fucking everything.
Yeah.
Except Apple.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. I tell you what, though. I really liked the Daryl Dixon.
Did you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did.
It looked really good.
It's a good story so far. I mean, there's only been like one episode, but I mean, like, what? Unless one, I think they release on Sundays.
Yeah.
But it's like really good.
Yeah.
Like, no joke. I mean, like, these offshoots are better than the main series.
Yeah. Like,
At least I mean, that's how I feel.
I honestly thought about watching it. Like, because I watched the trailer for it, and I was like, well, this is kind of interesting. Because Daryl's an interesting character. Mm-hmm. But, like Mike, and I don't mean to take a shot at the actor, but, like, I always thought, like, he was best as the next guy. Like, Rick was the head, and Daryl was, like, the right hand.
Yeah.
You know? And so, like, that was one of the things we always talked about. Like, once Rick leaves that show, like, I'm not interested in seeing Daryl as the leader.
Yeah, me neither.
So, but, like, I'm watching that trailer, it's an interesting twist on, at least from the trailer that I watched. Like, it looked like an interesting twist on, like, let's take this character and put it in a completely different situation.
Yeah, exactly. It breaks it down to nothing.
Yeah.
And that's what I like.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I mean, I'm not telling anything that was on the fucking
ends up
trailer.
In France somehow.
Yeah, he does. And like, it's just him.
Yeah.
And there's nobody else at the moment. And it's just him trying to survive.
Yeah.
And him wanting to get back home.
Yeah.
Because apparently during... I don't know, because I didn't watch it, but, I mean, they put him on a boat and they just fucking put him in the ocean. No, I mean, like, seriously. I mean,
it's kind of like, you know, the Hulk. Like, buddy, we can't have you around any longer. We're just going to put you on a ship and send you, like, a really nice planet. And
exactly.
He ends up going to, you know...
Yeah, I know.
The war planet.
But what I'm saying is, like, he, like, ends up in France on this boat, and it's like, day one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's a new series.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about it. It was really good.
Yeah.
I liked his interactions. I liked the cast that's involved. And it reminds me of early Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with the Negan show.
Yeah.
It reminds me of early Walking Dead.
Yeah.
You know, there wasn't all this drama and all this, I'm going to farm for a little bit and let's stretch this out as much as we can.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't that. And I really liked it. I mean, I thought, and I'm a fan of him.
Right.
I think he's really good at what he does.
Yeah.
And he continues on with the character in this new setting.
Right.
Which I appreciate.
Right.
You know? But I really like it. I mean, it's a good show. So far. I mean, I've only watched one. I mean, there's only been one episode.
Here's the question to ask. Do you think being freed of the restraints of the comic book? Now, I mean, not that the series ever followed the comic book to a T,
right.
But there were certain aspects that fans expected to see happen in this show based upon the comic book. Do you think being freed of the yoke of that comic book has benefited these two shows?
I think it has based on the characters.
Right.
I think that I don't know, how can I put this? I think it has based on the two characters that are involved.
Right.
Like Negan, Maggie, and Daryl.
Right.
I think it has. But in the same respect, I think it's benefit because there's no expectation.
Right.
Like, you don't know what to expect next.
Right.
And I like that.
Yeah.
You know, The Walking Dead kind of got into that a little bit, but then you kind of knew. You know what I mean? Like,
right. There were beats that had to be met.
Correct.
Like, we knew, like, okay, they're going to go to the prison. We know you're going to be... Now, they changed the governor, but, you know, this was going to happen. And this was going to happen. Like, we're going to go to the farm. We're going to do this. You know, we're going to end up here. We're going to... You know, there were beats that we as fans who had read the comic book...
Yeah.
Were expecting to be met.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you're tied to that a little bit...
Yeah, put it this way.
I think it makes it harder.
I like not knowing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm with it. I'm with this story.
Right.
I think this story is pretty good.
Yeah.
With Daryl.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all about the survival aspect.
Right.
That's my main thing.
Right.
Like, getting a bottle of water. Getting a can of tuna.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That's what I really... I know that sounds weird, but I mean, that's what I really enjoy about apocalyptic movies.
Right.
Even Black Summer.
Yeah.
You know, it's all about survival. It's all about where's my next meal going to come from?
Right.
How am I going to get gas for my car?
Right.
How am I going to defend myself? You know,
right.
That's what I like about it.
Right.
You know, because you can put yourself in that situation. At least I can. You know, like, what would I do on A, B, and C?
Right.
You know, and with this, I feel like with Dixon, I feel like, you know, he is a survivalist to an extent. Well, more so now because of the apocalypse, but
right.
I think he was a survivalist before.
Right.
So putting him in this context in a different country, not knowing what the fuck is going on,
right? As
far as, like, you know, where do I turn?
Right.
I can't read French.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. I mean, it's an interesting concept.
Right.
So
that's a fish out of water.
Correct. Very much so.
Right.
So that's what I like about this.
Right.
Show. So yeah, that's it. I think it's a good show. I think it's better from the first episode. I mean, I watched the whole season with Maggie and Negan, and I enjoyed it.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. I fucking loved it because I love Negan.
Right.
But I think this is actually a better show.
Okay.
From, like, where he's at.
Yeah.
Fish out of water, you say.
Right.
You know, in France, can't read French.
Yeah.
Trying to understand French.
Right.
Trying to understand where he's at. Geography.
Right.
Where he needs to go. Fighting the dead.
Right.
The dead are, you know, like, the dead are evolving.
Right.
In a sense, and he has to deal with that.
And since it's France, they're very rude.
Yeah. You know. Exactly. But I like that.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good. My hope is that it keeps on this same path.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Like, I hope that it just stays here without the farming bit. Like, I don't need dull episodes.
Right.
And I think that's where the Walking Dead failed. Was we had a lot of dead episodes. Where it was just like, okay, yeah, he's farming. Okay, yeah, he killed this guy. Okay, yeah, the dead are coming. Okay, now we're in a junkyard. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right, I get what you're saying.
There was a lot of dead episodes within The Walking Dead.
Right.
And I just need the series to keep moving forward. Like, keep going.
and like the 10 episode format like the Negan show was only like 10 episodes, right?
Correct.
8 episodes, 10 episodes, something like that.
Right.
It's probably gonna be the same thing.
Right.
So we've always talked about like the advantage of that is you tighten that up and there is no time. Like when you're doing 20 episodes of The Walking Dead, like there's a lot of time to fill.
Yeah, there is.
You know, and like any show, like I do feel like the 20 to 22 episode season is kind of dead.
Yeah.
You know, and like for storytelling purposes, you got to condense that, or you know, which is funny because like the one show we talk about, like we want more of is Strange New Worlds, and it's like 10 episodes and we're out.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like fuck, I need 20. But like most other shows, like especially when you're doing that long term storytelling, like you're doing 20 episodes, and man, that drains you.
Yeah, it does.
There's a lot of dead time to fill in.
Right. Anyway, that's all we got.
The only other thing I watched was Lower Decks.
Okay.
The new season started like last week, and that's such a fun show.
Yeah.
Like it's like it's that weird thing of like it makes fun of Star Trek, but it honors Star Trek at the same time, and it does it so well. All right, well, I can't remember what we were talking about there, but
Daryl Dixon.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Let's just wrap it up. We're an hour. That's good enough. It'll be a shorty.
Shorty.
Anything you'd like to add to the proceedings there, sir?
I'm good, son.
All right, well, remember there are a number of different ways you can reach out and touch us. You can send us an email. An email address is pittsburghnerd@yahoo.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter and Mastodon. Just search Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast. We're very, very easy to find. And lastly, as always, we want to thank you, or remember a number of podcasting networks.
Hey.
You can find us on the Tangent Bound Network, the Weeby Geeks Network, and the Pod Breed Network. Give them a Google search and find all the other great podcasts that they have to offer. And lastly, as always, we want to thank you, dear listener, for checking us out each and every week. Excuse me, burping. Can't thank you enough for that. And so on that note, the dreamer has awakened.
Peace.